right, I'm Chris Aveda with American Outdoor News. I'm here with Pat and Nicole Reeves from the hosts of Driven. Thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, thank you. We're excited.
Absolutely. It's going to be fun.
Now, Pat, I mean, you've been around a long time. You started out as a cameraman, hunting guide, doing camera work at Hunter Specialties and a North American whitetail. Now, is it common that somebody in production or camera work eventually go into their own show? I mean, we saw with Michael Weidel, Lee and Tiffany, Melissa Bachman. Here you are following the same mold.
Yeah.
Or they're following your mold.
Right. Actually, kind of helped Lee and Tiffany kind of get started back in the day. They're just, acquaintances of mine, and Lee and I, filmed when he was, so I've been doing it a long time. I don't know if you can see the gray in that camera or not, but, it's been a great ride. God's blessed us, and we get to do what we do every day. That's the biggest thing, and we still enjoy what we do every day. And of course, it always offers its own set of challenges. But I got started just because it was a passion. And back then, this is 30 plus years ago, it was TV wasn't even present at that point. I mean, there was a few shows, but they were kind of like Kurt Gowdy and the American Sportsman, I think it was called, and a few others, the Eastmans and stuff. But there was really no like common outdoor themed network. The Outdoor Channel did not exist at that point.
Mm-hmm.
So I entered into my producing career really producing VHS videos that were sold on a retail basis. So
That ages you.
yeah. Some kids are going, what's
I used it, so you're not
Right. Some people want to
and of course, we were carrying, back then we were carrying $85,000 beta cams around the woods, that 30-minute tapes, a maximum of 30-minute tapes, and big giant brick batteries. And it took a man just to carry that kind of equipment around in the mountains and up and down in the hills and stuff. But it was just a different thing. There wasn't a lot of people that enjoyed hunting that were on the producing side of it. They kind of came out of broadcast or, news stations, and they did the camera work while the host was a hunter. So I kind of came in backwards on that end, and I was a hunter that learned the production side of it and learned how to shoot video and such. And I just luckily was born with a natural good eye for creativity, and just built my name that way by being a good hunter as a cameraman and having I always said the cameraman has to have it together from start to finish, when he first sees the animal all the way through the end scene. And of course, a hunter just has to have it together, of course, during the shot. So, it always made me a better hunter, really, being a good cameraman. And, it's really, when we started our own show back in 04, 05, I believe we're on our 21st season this year.
Yeah.
We're filming for our 21st season already. I can't believe time has flown, but I wanted to name it something that best represented, us. And that's why I called it Driven. And, I'm just driven, my personality is driven to work harder to get the a better angle, a better shot than others. And that's what our show has always been about, is the quality. If you ask anybody, they'll say, their production work is really good.
Nicole, you were pretty seasoned as a hunter as well, prior to Driven. How'd you get your start in hunting? Who inspired you?
That's why I was attracted to her, by the way.
I don't blame you. It's always
She was a real hunter. I didn't have to.
Growing up, I had two older brothers. My mom wasn't a hunter, but she was super, supportive in the fact that I wanted to go hunting. And, my dad just never really left me at home, if that makes sense, right? Like he would He'd grab my brothers and he would grab me too. Just, I remember being the only girl, the only female in hunting camps growing up. And I was treated just the same, right? I mean, it was just another person in hunting camp sharing memories. And I remember my dad, shooting a deer, and he'd come back and get us kids. And I was barely old enough to walk, and he'd throw me on his shoulders and he'd help me, let us blood trail the deer and stuff like that. Right. So it's kind of how I started getting my feet wet in the hunting and really getting that, love built for the, hunting and the outdoors. And,
Mhm.
we had a deer camp, first shotgun season. I grew up in Southern Illinois, and it was like something I look forward to all year long. It's a 3-day, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So my parents would let me take off school on Friday. As a kid, that's like everything, right? And you're going
That's a
out.
bonus.
Right. You're going out in the middle of nowhere, no electricity, no running water. We stayed in this little, hunting shack. And we were just sharing stories the other day, about how we were just born and raised. I shot my first deer at 6. And just
Wow.
those memories are really what builds the foundation. And, it really what instilled the love of the outdoors for us. And we have 5 kids of our own now that we're able to pass that on. A couple days ago, we were just in the turkey woods with our 8.5-year-old, and he shot a
Wow.
gobbler. Yeah, it was funny. We were going to church, and Pat walks out to clean out the truck, and he's like, change of plans, guys. I just had 3 turkeys gobbling from the driveway. We're getting to your camo. We're going hunting. So
Gotta go.
Post came and on the
We-
camo went.
we're answering God's calls, right? So that's what we did. But yeah, so no, just being able to pass on the tradition that both him and I were able to, share with our parents in the outdoors, and now passing that on to our kids means everything to us.
So growing up in deer camp, you could shit talk with the best of them.
Right. And that's what, I had 2 older brothers too, so there's something to be said about that. The only girl, and yeah, growing up around a bunch of men.
What's been the biggest obstacle or challenge with either starting a show or keeping it exciting over 20 years?
There's certainly a lot of challenges. The biggest challenge that we're presented with is the balance of work and being gone hunting away from your family. That's
Right.
of course the biggest challenge that
Yeah.
that we always face, and I think anybody in a professional career faces the same thing, whether you're an athlete or a military person that's gone away from family. It's a lot of this,
Balance, yeah.
and that always is the thing that we have trouble dealing with the most. But now the kids are older, of course, that's changed a whole lot, and they can, of course, go with us. And nowadays there's, homeschooling and a lot of other things that also has changed that dynamic. But there's other challenges that we face nowadays. The most recent challenge, I guess, Nicole can, she can expound on this, but we're really faced with just pivoting off of the old traditional way people consume media into a new form of digital. Consuming, a lot of people consume media by their phone, their cell phone. So they don't watch TV like they did in the old days. Of course, nobody watches the VHS like we just talked about. So, we're pivoting, and that's a challenge that we face. And just everyday schedules and everything else.
Yeah, I mean, like he said, I think for so long for us, it was everything's a year behind, right? In network television, you film it the fall, and then the next year it airs. And so now, it's actually kind of exciting for us. It's brought on a whole new level of work, for us, because we're not only still doing network television, because our TV numbers are still really good, but we also know there's another demographic out there, like he said, that consumes everything on digital, right? And so it's exciting for us per se, because now we don't have to sit on that footage and sit on our hunts for, a full year. We're pretty much doing like semi-live. So as soon as we, come back from a hunt, we're pretty much right away getting something put together and getting it up on our YouTube channel, which allows people to really be in the now, right? Like everything's that's just kind of the way the tables are turning. And I think it's exciting because you know, there's more buzz and people, it's not like talking about, oh, a year ago, I didn't know you guys went here or whatever. It's like, wow, that trip you guys just got back on, that was incredible.
Yeah.
You know, I dreamed to do something like that or things like that. Right. I think
Yep.
I do like digital in that space, in that respect, because it allows us to live in the now with our followers and other people who love the outdoors like we do.
People can engage with, what we're doing
Right.
and ask questions, and we can communicate back with them, which, TV was just kind of a one-way street.
Right.
Well, now with the whole streaming services, there's so many choices out there. There's, Carbon TV, there's MOTV, there's Waypoint TV. That you have your pick of any service to watch streaming video 24/7.
Right. And, you know, when Pat and I talked, it's important for us to be prevalent on platforms, right? So we're very prevalent on MOTV. MOTV has all of our past seasons. So what I like about that is that's kind of a on demand, like you're saying, it's on demand. It has all of our seasons on there. So at any time, you know, if they want to see past seasons, all they have to do is go to MOTV and they can look us up. Whereas
Yep.
YouTube is more in the now and what's happening right now and the hunts and stuff, you know, that we're going on now. So it's nice to be able to have both ends of the spectrum,
Yeah.
right, with that.
And Outdoor America is another platform that
Right.
we're on as well, that has a lot of our, long form content on like MOTV does. So,
Right.
you can pretty much watch us anywhere, anytime. And that's kind of our goal, is be everywhere, right? So no matter what that demographic is, they can consume Driven at any point.
Yep.
Well, aside from streaming services, how has technology really changed the way you hunt?
Well, it's funny, you know, because I remember like even mountain hunting, right? Like Pat carrying these ginormous cameras up the mountain and these heavy tripods and all the things, right? And like,
Yeah.
and I remember guides being like, you're going to carry that tripod up to the top of the mountain. And Pat would be like, if it's what it takes to get the shot, yep, I sure am. You
Yep.
know, I mean, and so it just, that's really evolved with the, you know, lighter weight equipment and things like that. And
Yeah.
everything's condensed
Well,
now.
yeah, and certainly the biggest technology shifts that I've noticed, and I remember, it seems like it was yesterday, but I remember taking a little device that had a little thread coming out of it attached to an electronic clock, and we'd string that thread across a deer trail, and it was called a trail timer. And when something would come down that trail, of course, it would pull on the thread and it would trip the electronic digital clock. And we thought it was revolutionary that this gave us the biggest advantage ever, that we could then figure out when a deer travel. Of course, we didn't know it was a buck or doe, or it could have been a coyote or whatever. But
Yep.
but I mean, we'd
Something,
hit
yeah.
the big time. And now, nowadays we're using, cell cams that go, of course,
Straight
up
to directly to your phone,
right
right?
to your
Yeah.
phone. You can watch, what's out there at any point. Stealth Cam is one of our partners, and they're building a camera that shoots 360 degrees now.
Cellular
I mean-
trail camera. So you're walking into your stand and you're like, oh, I need to make sure there's no
Just
deer in
missed
the
them.
field. Yeah, there's no deer in the field or whatever,
You can
right?
check
Like
it.
it's instant.
Yeah.
So I don't, a lot of states, of course, are regulating some uses of different things, and it could be even the forms of fishing, right? Some people
Yeah.
use live scopes, and some states are talking about technologies here, whether states like it or not, whether hunters use like it or not. I mean, if you don't like it, don't use it, right?
Right.
That's my
Yeah.
opinion. Whether you shoot an old traditional bow and you thought compounds were not fair advantage or whatever, or fair chase, but now, crossbows, everything changes, and technology is amazing now more than ever. You still got to go hunting, and you still got to beat the animal. I mean,
Yeah.
you still got to make the shot. I mean, the cameras and all the equipment don't do that for you. So I just feel like, hey, the
Right.
high tech technology is here to stay. And again, if hopefully you embrace it and enjoy, because my opinion, as long as you're in the field doing it and being out there enjoying Mother Nature and involved in the hunting, I'm all for it, right? I don't care,
Yep.
if you're a traditionalist or you're a compound shooter or a crossbow hunter. or you're a high fence hunter. Just so you're out there having fun in the great outdoors, that's all that matters.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's,
Can you share your most memorable hunt?
oh, that's a tough one. You know, that's funny. We get asked that question a lot. And it's like, you know, we've traveled all around the world, you know, up the tallest of mountains. We have seen some of the most beautiful stuff. But I think, I mean, as far as me, and I know Pat says the same, like, there's nothing like being at home or just being in the outdoors with the kids. You know,
Yeah.
like that is our absolute favorite, is just being able to share those memories.
The critter right behind,
Oh,
it
yeah.
sounds like Nicole
My
shot
brown bear.
a brown bear with a bow. I don't know if anybody's seen, you know, who's listening and seen this footage, but
That's impressive.
that, yeah, the footage, you can go on YouTube and watch it.
At about 10 steps. Yeah. So
And
that was a pretty
spot-
adrenaline rush.
Right.
Hunt.
Spot and stalk. And, you know, the thing about that hunt is that, you know, there's no canned hunting there. I mean, you're living in the wilderness in Alaska. You're hunting an animal that could kill you, and you're trying to harvest this animal on its own turf and with a bow and arrow. And it's almost probably one of the most ultimate hunts in North America, in my opinion, if
Yep.
not the most difficult. So, you know, it was really a lot of fun to go on that hunt. And I always said I just had to have faster tennis shoes on than she did, because I had to outrun somebody. But
He has a lot of variables going against him. I don't think that would have happened, but whatever.
I was a track star in high school. Now I've lost a few steps, but I can still run for a short period of time.
Well, you know, hunting is unpredictable.
Right.
How do you handle the potential dangers that may pop up at the last second?
You know, nowadays, I think you just, you know, I mean, you do enough research before going in the field, whatever animal it is that you're going to harvest, you know, you're going to hunt, like you do enough research in the field to make yourself in the safest spot, you know, as possible, and make the safest choices as possible, right? You know, I mean, that's just, I think that's very important.
Yeah, there's an element of risk always. I mean, a lot more risk in travel than there is, you know, with an encounter of an animal.
Yeah.
There's only been one instance in my hunting career that I ever felt threatened for my life from an animal. And we had to shoot the animal in self-defense. It was a bear. It was a black bear, believe it or not. It wasn't a brown bear, but you know, when we go to a brown bear hunt, we'll take an electric fence system and put it around our tent at night to give you that just added sense of security.
I'll never forget the very first sheep hunt we did up in Alaska. And I mean, you sleep with your rifle. We're in a tent, right? You sleep with your rifle between the two of you. And I remember waking up and I could hear like a nose at my head on the other side of the tent. And I was like, oh my gosh. I'm like trying not to whisper, but like trying to elbow Pat to wake up, you know, and luckily nothing ever happened. We think it was a bear and it had taken off, but I mean, we've slept in Northwest Territories up in the McKenzie Mountains a lot in you know, in grizzly bear country. Like it just, you just try to, like he said, you try to do as much as you can to keep yourself safe, but there's always a risk.
Right. You keep you don't put your food around your tent. You be smart. You put it off in a cache somewhere else that, you know, doesn't attract the bears. But, you know, again, some of those travel situations can be kind of sketchy because you're in helicopters, you're in little bush planes, and you don't service them. They're not your planes. So you kind of count on somebody else that has done their proper, you know, the proper work to keep you safe. But, you know, I guess that's part of the experience too, is just having that adventure, right? To where, you know, that makes some memories. If it was just ordinary and it was boring, it wouldn't be as adventurous. And that's what we enjoy is bringing some of that stuff back to the screen.
Well, I know over 20 years, you've created a lot of memories, a lot of accomplishments. What are you most proud of?
That's hard.
I think I'm most proud of just making the memories and building a fan base that, you know, can appreciate all the work and effort over the years and live vicariously by watching our stuff. I think I get a sense of reward from that accomplishment. I ran into a guy today that I met him one time at an event, and I was in the grocery store parking lot today, and he come up and he's like, hey, you don't remember me, but I remember you. I met you many moons ago and 20 plus years ago and at a promotion at a player's dealership. And he said, I've watched your stuff over the years. I just wanted to say hi and keep up the good work. And, those kind of little things just make you feel good about that there's people out there that enjoy still seeing what kind of effort we put into it. And, and that hopefully motivates them to get out there and do more of it. And
well, I mean, I would say like, land managing stuff too, right? Like Pat's super, passionate about that, right? And showing and teaching people kind of what he's done on our properties. And just like he said, going on the hunts and other people being able to live through our hunts, right? Going to places that they probably know they'll never get to go to, have the opportunity to, but they're able to through the lens, through our camera lenses and our hunts. So, and just raising our 5 kids to all be outdoorsmen and women, right? Like they're all stewards of the land. They all know conservation. I think that's like first and foremost for all of us, especially nowadays with the way our world and our country is turning. Like, I think it's so important to instill that foundation of the outdoors in as many kids as you can, right? Like, I mean, it just is, it's very important because the way, like I said, our hunting traditions and just the way hunting is being attacked, United States, it just is very important for us, to be able to pass that on and to educate. I mean, I've always said there's a difference between non-hunters and antis. And, I think it's our responsibility as hunters and conservationists to educate those non-hunters as why we do what we do. Even if they decide to never hunt, at least they're educated why we are hunting, harvesting the animals we are, bringing them back, feeding our family, all of that organic meat. Like, I think it's a full circle thing that it's up to us to be able to, educate those that really don't know, right? That weren't raised in hunting families.
Well, I think hunters, we're our own worst enemies.
Amen.
We don't stick together.
Agree.
Bow hunters don't like crossbow hunters. Bow hunters might not like rifle hunters. Who cares?
Right.
Who cares? One of the biggest accomplishments, now that I have a minute to think about that question, is, and this is God's honest truth, is, when we've done a lot of consumer shows over the years, and you start feeling real old real fast when you meet these you might take a picture with a young child, maybe a baby, that their parents are carrying them around and they're at the show for the first time, and then you see them many years later and they're
showing you pictures of their animals,
or they're carrying their own babies around.
Right.
But they also say, look, I've watched you guys, you got my wife into hunting. I remember an old gentleman came up and said, my wife never hunted, so she started watching your episode, and it kind of inspired her to start hunting at a very late in life age. And because she saw Nicole doing it, so she went out there and tried it, and now she loves it just as much as the husband, and they get to go do it together. And without that, without that inspiration, that probably would have never happened, and they wouldn't have, made those memories of field. So I think it's just seeing all those young people and even older people that, have picked up hunting and are now traditional hunters because they watched our stuff. That's probably one of the most inspiring things that I can say that's the most rewarding for us.
The fact that you inspire people without even knowing it, is got to be a gratifying feeling.
It certainly is. Yes.
Now, on the flip side of that question, over a 20-year career, what was your biggest heartbreak?
I know Pat's. I'm going to let him go with that.
Well, I pretty much all the big animals that have gotten away in my career, I can still relive those moments like it was yesterday.
Because of the camera.
Yeah, mainly because of the camera. Something happened, that they got away. Sheep, the sheep are my nemesis, where they've gotten away, and those hunts are not easily replaceable.
No.
So I still relive those moments a lot. And there's been lots of others, you know, and that's just the kind of, that's the business, right? I mean, I am very devoted to the camera. So, you know, if the camera hasn't got it, I don't shoot it. And that's just what I've always been, you know. Some people would say, "Ah, heck with the camera, I'm going to shoot it anyways," and then they try to make up the story. I'm more devoted to like bringing back the great footage and worrying about bringing back the animal, and that's just what it's always been with me.
So here's the question that everybody wants to know: who shoots the biggest deer?
Happy wife, happy life. I know you've heard that.
On advice of counsel, I refuse to answer.
Oh, we have that debate quite a bit.
We're just having this debate. We're getting ready to go spring bear hunting, and there's a bear that we both want to shoot, and he's like,
No.
absolutely not. I'm putting my foot down. You're not shooting this bear.
You don't even know about the bear if it wasn't for me, because she wasn't even there last year, and she pretends like she has a fair.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I hunted the bear all last year, and I didn't get him, and he's, of course, he made it through the season. And if he shows back up, I'm gonna try to do, you know, put the final chapter in the book. And, you know, Nicole's like, well, I should hunt that bear. I'm like, you have no absolute right to hunt that bear. You didn't put in the time and effort and swat 1,000 mosquitoes like I did last year. You're not hunting that bear. So
you
get
see,
that right out
this
of your
husband-wife dispute happens a lot in hunting camps.
Yeah.
Do let her shoot quite often, because I realize that for ratings, her beautiful face brings more to the screen than this one. This face is made for radio.
Yeah, you and me both.
We, you know, but we kind of do rock, paper, scissors here and there. There was one time that I remember like putting my foot down in the field during the heat of the moment where she went to grab her bow instead of the camera. And I told her, you put your bow down and grab the camera. This is my turn. I'm shooting this one. And she's like, well, she tried to convince me that wasn't the animal I was after. And I don't care if it wasn't the animal, I'm still shooting it anyways. So it was like a big stag in New Zealand. And I shot it. So she didn't win out on that war.
Nicole, do you have a victory dance when you shoot the bigger animal?
You know what? At the end of the day, it's like, it's all going for the same thing, right? So, I mean, it is what it is. And I don't, you know, I mean, I still travel a lot, but I don't go as much. I don't go on everything anymore, you know, kids and all that, right?
Yep.
It's, I get older, activities and things. And like I said, I just love being at home and sharing the outdoors here, right? Or taking them with on as much as we can. This summer, we got some cool trips coming up that we're going to take a couple of our kids on. So it'll be fun. Make those memories, right?
Absolutely. That's what it's all about.
Right.
In fact, every taxidermy behind you is a memory.
Amen to that. Yeah.
You know, that's what people that come to our production office, they walk in and they're looking, I'm like, and they're like, wow, this is amazing. You know, where'd you shoot that? And I had to tell them every animal is all, and that you see is all been harvested on camera. Of course, I can go back. Well, I'll probably go back when I'm 80, 90 years old, when hopefully I'm alive then, but I can just go back and relive all those memories again by just being able to watch it. And I think that that's very valuable in itself. And of course, my kids and my grandkids and my great grandkids can also, you know, be able to experience what I've been able to experience at one point or another. And we watch our kids grow up on camera too. I'm like, we watched just a couple years ago, we watched stuff back from a 5-year period, and we're like, what? Look at how little they were and precious, and all of a sudden now, you know, they're teenagers. So
yeah,
it's easy.
Funny how that happens.
Right. Too fast.
Circle of life.
Yeah. Now, Nicole, it's been widely rumored throughout the industry that you are an outstanding game cook.
I like to
look at me.
I definitely love to cook. There is no doubt about it. You know, and as another thing, like with even YouTube, like I love the fact that that's more of a lifestyle platform. So I'm going to be doing a lot more cooking stuff and things because I cook a ton. I have huge gardens in the summertime. I can a bunch of my own stuff, make my own spaghetti sauces, all the things, right? And that's what we live off of all year. Of course, all the wild game that we harvest, you open our freezers and that's what we eat. That's what we consume. And so, I've grown up with, great cooks in my family. I was blessed on both my mom and my dad's sides with grandmas that loved to cook and were great cooks and that taught me to cook, as well as my mom. She's a phenomenal cook. So it's kind of in the blood and in the genes. I had no hope in not being that way, right?
I told a story earlier about a guy that I met at the grocery store parking lot today. I met two guys today at the grocery store. And this one guy come out and he goes, "Are you a hunter?" And I'm like, "I don't know how you could tell, but I had a fully camouflaged truck." I was standing on my groceries, and he goes, "I've never hunted." He goes, "But," he goes, "I appreciate what you do, and I might try hunting some point, because I know that the stuff that you hunt and you consume is very much way healthier than what you can buy and processed foods." And I said, "Absolutely." I said, that's what we live off of. And he goes, "That's what really intrigues me the most is, the healthy benefit that you get from, harvesting your own meat and being able to process it and be able to consume it." And I'm like, "Yeah," I said, "that's honestly," I said, "not everybody is a trophy hunter. People just hunt for substance. I mean, everybody's, of course, ancestor did that." Even the anti-hunters out there, in their ancestry had a hunting background, or they wouldn't have survived.
Even us in the winter time, though, I'll be like, "Okay, we're down to how many weeks of season left? We still have doe tags. Let's go fill them, because we need to get us through the winter and get us through next hunting season." Right. So
absolutely.
And that's just kind of, that's our inventory and that's what we do. But yes, I think I keep saying YouTube, but YouTube has opened up a whole new venue, because I can't tell you how many people comment like, "Why do you hunt? Why are you killing animals?" I have quite a few of those comments. It opens up the conversation. I welcome comments like that, because it opens up the conversation and being able to educate. Like he's just talking about the hunter that he met, or the non-hunter that he met in the parking lot, but that's thinking about it. It's opening up those conversations to other people to at least have them welcome the idea of hunting, or welcome the idea of consuming wild game,
or or just appreciating, and not looking at us like an ego driven person that is just out there to hang a trophy on his wall. It's, there's a full circle aspect to, being able from field to fork type of thing. So
I kind of laugh because of the people who are like, "Oh, you shoot something and you stuff it and you put it on your walls." And I'm like, actually, I feel like that's showing respect to the animal, right? Like we're not only consuming the meat, we're not only consuming the meat that we got out of the animal, but we're also displaying it, and I feel like that's a sign of respect to the animal.
If I look at anything in this room, I can sometimes come in here and just sit there and admire the trophy. And then I relive that experience like I was there. If I want to watch it, great. I can watch it, of course, because we have that all captured, but a lot of people don't have the video aspect. They hang the antlers or the head or whatever it might be on their wall, just to be able to help remind them of that positive, memory or experience. That's what it's about.
As you're sitting down to dinner with the moose that you made, you can actually grab your glass of wine and toast the moose on the wall behind you.
Right. Yeah, there's one problem. We're just running out of space. So
yeah.
A good problem to have, but it's not stopping us.
There's a big moose right there in the background.
Yeah, that's why I was saying the moose. So any plans on coming out with a cookbook?
Maybe. Yeah, maybe, I think over the years, my focus was just feeding my family, right? Like that's always been my focus. I've been very private in that regards, right? Just feeding my family, and didn't really concentrate on sharing my recipes and things like that. But as the kids are getting older and things like that, it's freed up a little bit more time in that regards, and I spend a lot more time in the kitchen. So yeah, definitely on the docket.
Well, I'll be coming out with a cookbook this year, so
Super
I'll be
cool.
sure to send you an autographed copy.
Please do. That would be awesome. That would be absolutely awesome. I would
What's
love
your
that.
what's your favorite dish to cook?
Oh, wow. That's a tough one, but I would have to say Thai massaman venison curry.
Ooh, that sounds, I've never had it. That sounds, I'm more of like a very much like a Paula Deen type of cook, right? Like I'm very just a home style, nothing fancy, but will stick to your ribs and be, you know what I mean, and be good.
That's a
I'm not your pioneer woman. I'm kind of not the super fancy whatever, but like I said, I love to cook. And it's funny, the kids are always like, you should open a restaurant. My youngest is like, you're the best cook.
No, you don't. You don't want to do a
I go, you
restaurant.
would never see me. I'm never doing that. So
You know what sounds good right now? I'm so hungry because we've already went past lunch and I haven't had lunch. But morel mushrooms right now. I know everybody's finding them. We haven't found them yet in Minnesota because it's a little too cold here. But hopefully in a couple weeks they'll start to pop. But I mean, a good batch of morel mushrooms right now. My wife makes amazing morel mushrooms.
Wow. All right. I'll need the recipe.
yeah. But yeah, no, I mean, I think I just, we love what we do. We're very blessed, you know, celebrating 20 seasons this year on network. Like, I think that's a pretty cool accomplishment. It's amazing to see
That's a
how,
huge accomplishment.
you know, it's amazing to see how things have changed. But everything's ebb and flow, right? Like it just, that's life, right? And we've learned to pivot and adapt with the changes. And I think that's important, right? With any business that we do,
and we still enjoy it. You know, I still get a rush sitting there, even behind the camera. I mean, the other day when Cashton, our 8-year-old, shot that turkey, it was coming in. I was just as nervous, I think, as he was. And I was breathing hard and I was just like, you know,
we decided to go no blind this year. It's the first time we're running and gunning.
With an 8-year-old with a 410. That's what, I mean, I really don't get any more difficult than that, you know? So, you know, it's still a fun, and I enjoy the challenge, of course, that the camera presents, getting it all captured on film. I've been known to have the old nickname of, you know, just one more time, you know, because I don't want to give up until I get the, you know, enough great shots.
Right. Sometimes we have to be like, we're done, let's go.
Yep. Yeah. You have that drive.
Right.
You don't want to let it go.
Yeah, I can't live my name down, right?
All right. Well, I definitely appreciate you taking the time to talk to us today.
Absolutely.
And I look forward to seeing you guys again soon.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I mean, like I said, if anybody listening wants to check out our stuff, Driven Hunter YouTube channel, and we're still on the Outdoor channel. We're 5 to 7 airings a week there. We're on Outdoor America, MOTV, all the places. So check us out. We very much appreciate you having us on.
Yeah, thank you very much. It was a good time. We'll do it again.